What's going on, everyone? In this video, I'm going to share with you how I almost sold $1,000 worth of books in one day in the month of February. My name is Joji. I'm a high school chemistry teacher, and I buy books on Amazon when they're undervalued and then resell them on Amazon for a profit. So what I want to do in this video is just kind of show you some books that I sold today. I'll tell you how much I bought them for, how much I sold them for, and then you guys can see if you want to also do the same business model as well. All right, so I'm over here on my Amazon page. You can see that we're at $0 in sales today. That's because right now it's 12:38 a.m. and that's really the time that I have to do this business, right? You can kind of do this anytime during the day. You know, I'm a high school chemistry teacher. I also have a 1-year-old son. I have a wife. I've got a YouTube channel. So there's a lot of things that got to happen throughout the day. So really when I can do this business is usually between 10:30 p.m. and midnight. So that's why you see the sales are $0 because technically this day is only 38 minutes old. But you can see what my sales look like over the last week. So you can see we were at like 260, 490, 660, 450, 448. And then just yesterday, we had $995 in sales. And I'm going to show you how pretty much every book that I bought and sold on that day was profitable, and we can kind of have a running tally of how much profit we made that day. So I'm just gonna come up here to the manage orders page, and you can actually see that this is gonna be sorted by books that have recently sold. And so we're gonna start with the first book that sold actually at 1:47 a.m. It's called Common Herbs for Natural Health. It sold for $49.99. Okay, so the first thing that you'll be able to see is that I actually bought this on February 5th of this year. So I mean, I bought it like literally 20 days ago, which is awesome. I'm gonna click view this order. You can see I bought it for a total of $7.95. So I'll put $7.95 there into seller amp. And then again, we can put the $49.99 sales price. We made $26 profit selling this one book. So let's go down and see like why I bought this book. And you can actually see it's probably pretty clear, right? This is a book that's had a number of sales rank drops above 30, even in the 40 range. And interestingly, this is a book that actually has largely been out of stock. And the way I know that is that the black use line is not solid from left to right across the entire Keepa graph. You can also see how the offer count below also is not completely consistent. It's not there from, left to right as a solid line the whole time. So this is a book that's been in and out of stock. You can see that back in 2021, 2022, it was selling, right around the high teens to up to $20, and then actually just went out of stock for a long time. What was really good news is that when it came back in stock at 41, there was like immediate sales rank drops. So that tells me, hey, a lot of people really wanted this book. So when this dropped in price down to about $7.95, I picked up this book and was able to sell it for $49.99 pretty quickly actually, and made a $26 profit on a $7 investment. That's awesome. And real quick, guys, I want to let you know that the sponsor of today's video is actually BookMine. BookMine is the most powerful online book arbitrage sourcing software on the market, and we have a free 10-day trial if you guys want to try it out. It's an awesome service that can find you some awesome books, but let's get back to the video. All right, so we're at $26 profit already on the day. The next book that sold was at 5:37 a.m. for a total of $69.99. Again, you can see this is a book I bought on Amazon. Bought this one a little while ago. Bought this on July 25th. I'm going to click view this order, and you can see we bought this one for a total of $20.88. So over here on SellerAmp, let's put $20.88, and we'll put the $69.99 as the sales price. So this is a book that looks like we were able to profit $28. So not only did we get our $20 investment back, but we also made $28. And again, this is without leaving my house. I basically buy these books on Amazon, and they get shipped to a prep center. My prep center is Central Virginia Prep. Awesome prep center. Check them out. I'll link them down in the description. They then ship the book off to Amazon for me. They charge me $2.25 per book, which by the way is actually calculated in the fees here. If I go down to total fees, you'll see I have a $2.25 prep fee. They basically ship the book to an Amazon warehouse for me, and then Amazon FBA does all the rest. They do all the fulfillment, they do all the customer service, all the shipping and everything like that. So all I really need to do is research with Keepa, research with BookMine, find books that look like they're going to be awesome buys, click buy it now, and then just list the book on Amazon for a specific price, right? And that's all I need to do. So again, let's look at the Keepa graph here. You can see back in July, this is a book that, Amazon is selling you for right around 70 to 80. Then there's this repricing war where the book got really cheap, decided to pick up a copy. And you can see since then, there's been quite a number of sales rank drops. Over the last 2,500 days, this has had very solid history. You can see that the used line, the used price of this book has at even some points been higher than the new price, which doesn't make any sense, by the way. That was one selling in used condition. But the point is that this is a book that, historically was very cheap when I picked it up and was able to make a $28 profit. And let's go on to the next book. All right, the next book is Philip Pearlstein since 1983. I bought this, or actually I sold it for $60.76. It sold at 6:54 a.m. And you can actually see I bought this book on December 29th of the previous year. Now it looks like the all-in price for this was $9.52. So let's go and add that here to seller rep, $9.52. And again, the sales price, $60.76. You can see is a total profit of $31. And if we scroll down to the Keepa graph, we can kind of see is that, when I bought this book, its price basically dropped from $46 all the way down to about $8 or $9. It hung out there for about a couple of days, but previous sales before that were in the 70 range, and then a few sales here right around like 35. If we go back 4,600 days, pretty strong history of this staying in the 20 to 40 range, kind of varies throughout time. But what we also notice is that we're at a pretty, when I picked it up, we're at a still pretty low offer count relative to normal supply. And yeah, I was able to make a $31 profit, 328% ROI on that book. The next book that we're going to look at is called All of a Sudden. This sold for $54.88. It sold at 7:59 a.m. So this is another book I bought in December of last year, and I can click view this order. Looks like we bought this for a total of $10.13. So I'm gonna go and put in $10.13 there. We sold it for $54.88, which left us with a profit of $25, 250% ROI. That's an awesome book here. Again, let's go down the Keepa graph. Here's a graph that, has a book that has a really high sales rank. I mean, at times during the year, it has a sales rank up to 5 or 6 million. And by the way, I buy books all the time that have sales ranks of 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, because what I'm really trying to see is, does this book have intrinsic value over a long period of time? And you can clearly see that this book does. Even though it doesn't sell a lot, you can see that there are multiple sales rank drops every year. The lowest use price never really goes below like the high 20s and often in the 40s, even in the 60s. So, when this book basically dropped from $69 all the way down to about $6 plus shipping, $10.13. It's a no-brainer for me. I know it's going to take a while to sell, but I also know that it's going to sell at a pretty good price. So it sold $54.88, $25 profit. And what you could also do is set yourself up for this sort of thing in the future is you can track the product. So you can come up here to the Keepa graph, click track product, and I'm actually going to track this for $15 and include shipping costs. So if that's ever under $15, then over the next 10 years, I'm going to get an email notification. I can go buy that book again and then resell it again and again. And I cannot stress how important it is, guys. The way that you scale from 50 to 75 to 100 to 200K is you got to be buying replenishes. Those are books that you've already sold in the past. So one easy way to do that is just to set trackers on every book that you've sold successfully for profit so that you can go back and buy it again, again, and again. I guarantee you that this is a book I'll sell at some point in the future again. It's just a matter of time for when it gets that low again. The next book sold is a Science and Practice of Strength Training that sold at 9:28 a.m. for $74.84. I picked this book up for a total of $27.17 back here right around November. And you can see that this is a book that generally had its lowest use price in the mid 40s up to the 50s. And then also routinely was buy boxing significantly higher than that in the 70s. So I kind of sold mine right in line with the buy box that's kind of been consistently over the last year. Generally, I don't really try to exploit the prime bump, but in this case, the prime bump is actually there pretty much year round. This book sells enough that there's probably some of those sales happening at that buy box, and I was still buying the book undervalued. So made a $25 profit, less than 100% ROI, but still that's an amazing return on investment. And let's go to the next book. The next book is actually an awesome book. It's called Bay Area Graffiti. We sold this for $69.99 at 9:36 a.m. And you can see I bought this also on December 13th. You can see I bought this for a total of $23.40. So I'm going to go ahead and put $23.40 here into seller rep. And again, I sold this for a total of $69.99, which is going to give us a profit of $23 and almost exactly 100% ROI. Again, if I look at the Keepa graph, you can see that this is a book that has had sales rank drops in the 50s, a little bit lower there in September, but then in November, before I bought it, sales rank drops in the high 40s. And then if you scroll back into time, you can actually see sales rank drops as high as 70 and sales rank drops in the 60s. So, okay, this is again another book that holds some pretty good long-term value. And not only that, this book actually had a pretty decent price, even when the offer count was significantly higher than it was when I bought the book. So all that led me to want to buy it. You can actually see when I purchased it, the offer count was actually quite low relative to the recent past. And so no-brainer picked up there. Again, made $23. Again, this is something that I would really want to track in the future. So I'm going to click track product. I'm going to go to $24 and say if it's ever that price or under, let me know and I'll consider buying it again. Our next book is actually an awesome one. This is, I think, the most expensive book of the day, Our Universal Journey. It sold for a total of $119.99. This is actually an older book that was bought in 2022. So let's actually take a look. You can see actually July 18th of 2022. And what you'll be able to see here is that the grand total of this was actually 2 copies for $14.12. So actually, no, I actually used some rewards points on as well. So 31.84 divided by 2. So essentially half that price. So we'll just call it $16 there. So if we put $16 price in, this one sold for $119.99, made us a profit of $75. And yeah, you can kind of see that this book, when I bought it back in 2022, I probably bought it at one of these dips. And this is a book that had sales rank drops in the past as high as in the 80s. Probably the reason why this book took so long to sell is that in the most recent past, this book has kind of been settled at a price of between 50 to 60 bucks. And I was just like overinflating the buy box because I didn't really go back and check the price of this book. So, the good news is that if I sold it sooner, which I should have, for like $49.99, I would still be profitable, but it actually sold for $119.99. So made a $75 profit, which is incredible. Now, this doesn't happen all the time where you sell books for more than you should have sold them for, but it does happen occasionally. I kind of made a mistake on this book. I mean, I got really lucky that it sold, but what I would have done is gone back in the future, realized that it was overpriced in the recent history and just priced it at a, again, like a $49.99. And again, you might think, well, Joji, are you going to lose all that money from storage fees? Well, what you could do is you can go ahead and use the storage filter on Seller App, and you can see that really my profit doesn't change very much because, long-term storage fees in the context of the average selling price of these books that we're buying and selling is not really very significant. So in this case, great sale, made, again, $75 profit. Let's go to the next book. The next book that we're going to show is a book called Paul Gadmus, and let's take a look at it. It sold for $75. Again, another very niche book. This one we bought actually in January of this year, on January 23rd, and it looks like we bought it for $36.83. So we're going to go ahead and put that in there to Seller App. Again, we sold this for $75, so a little bit lower of an ROI. Still made 38%, made a $14 profit. If you guys are making like $10 per book, that's actually, quite good, $10 per book. At that point, it's just how many books can you sell? So if we scroll down here to the Keepa chart, you can see strong history of this book selling in the 60s, even up to the 90s. So I might have even sold mine for a little bit less than I probably should have, but that's okay. I sold the book profitably. Yeah, you can see that this book has definitely sold in the hundreds quite well, and you can see that it's also buy boxing right around 100. So I definitely sold this book a little bit too cheap, but I'm fine. I'm happy with that. Making a $14 profit on a book is awesome, and yeah, that's something I'm happy with. Now again, this is something that I'm going to want to track. So I bought mine for 36. You can see back in August of the previous year, it got as low as 24. So what I'm going to do is just track it with the same. I think $37 free shipping is a good price for that book, especially because you could probably sell for a little bit more than I did. But again, made a $14 profit. I'm happy with that. All right, looks like we also have a book that I sent back to myself for some reason. And then finally, we've got this book, which sold for $59.99 just 2 hours ago at 10:19 p.m. Again, this is something that I bought on December 7th. So a lot of these books were bought in December and January, which is awesome. So they're moving right around 3 or so months. The also really cool thing is I use rewards points to buy this book. So I actually end up walking away with $0 invested in this. Check out this video here if you guys want to look at the most powerful credit card that you can use for Amazon to Amazon flips. Basically, you get 5% back on every purchase, and those come as rewards points, which you can redeem for purchases, or you can just redeem it as cash back. Normally, you would want to just redeem it as cash back so that you can get 5% back on every purchase. I tend to just like to show you the power of it and show you that, hey, this is a book I technically got for free just from all my other buying, and I was able to sell it for $49.99. Actually, excuse me, $59.99. So we put it at $59.99. If we just leave in the buy price, which was $12.54, we made a $28 profit. If we put in the $0 buy cost, which is technically what happened, we bought a book for $0, flipped it for $60, made a $40 profit, which is pretty awesome. So that's all I got for you guys today. Again, check out BookMine. It's the most powerful online book arbitrage sourcing software out there. You can totally find many books just like this. There's a lot of those BookMine tutorial videos on my channel. And if you guys like the video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.